Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Greg Dennis review in proud association with Change Cars, where you can go and get yourself one of these, the Jetour Dashing. Jetour, however you want to pronounce it, I'm driving it. Now in this video, we're going to see what it's like to drive. We're going to chat pricing, we're going to chat value for money, we're also going to chat fuel consumption and also cost of ownership to see exactly how much this is going to cost you per month, including your insurance. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start things off talking about pricing. Now this Jetour Dashing is available in two different trim levels. You've got the Momentum and the Deluxe, with the Momentum setting you back 440,000 Rand and the Deluxe setting you back 470,000 Rand. Now the main difference between those two trim levels is going to be things like your 360 camera, it's going to be things like your lane keep assist, it's going to be things like your sunroof or panoramic sunroof, and a few other things there too. So you got to just put up the value. Can you afford the extra 30,000 Rand? Or can you go without some of those additional trim things to save a little bit of money? That's something you're going to have to decide. But for now, while we're driving it, I'm going to have to tell you that this car is a little bit bipolar. And the reason I say that is because it does some things really well, but it also does some things not so well, but also changes it up every now and then and does the bad things well sometimes too. So it's a little bit confusing and I'm battling with this car a little bit. But to start off with what it does really well, now that's going to be the comfort and, you know, the seating position and how it feels to drive from a suspension point of view. So it's quite cushioned, it handles the road imperfections really well. In South Africa, our roads can be a little bit rough, and I feel like it deals with it quite well, and very composed on our roads, the bumps and the partials, potholes and things like that. But then on the other hand, it's a little bit annoying to drive. Now I say annoying because that's part of the bipolarness of it. It's got a lot of turbo lag, and by putting your foot down, it's either going to be between the gears or the throttle, whatever the case is. Foot flat, there we go. Then it decides what you want to do, and that's just by putting your foot flat. The only way to really deal with this car when you are driving is to feel more of a consistent driving way is to feather the throttle very slowly and nicely so that you can give it time to think about how it wants to drive, and then it's going to be fine. But you can't drive the car like that all the time. No one can drive a car like that all the time. The most important thing about a car is how it drives. And here you've got significant turbo lag. Put your foot flat. There we go. And then it just revs for days. Then it just wants to keep on going. So you've got this slow takeoff, and then it's almost like the turbo boost and everything pulls in and shoots you forward. So the problem with that now is because it's unexpected. Like sometimes you'll put your foot down and it'll weirdly go normally, which catches you by surprise. And other times it does what I've just explained. But the problem with the lag and when you put your foot down nothing happens is that you can't navigate situations while driving on the daily very well. So if you get to a four-way stop and everyone stopped together, but you know you got there first, as an example, and you now need to go so that you can have your spot in it. You're gonna put your foot down to go, but nothing happens. So everyone thinks that you're now not going. So they're all gonna go in front of you, and then all of a sudden your car's gonna go. And now you're all stuck in intersections together. Or if you see a gap in the traffic, or you want to change lanes to get the gap that's next to you, you can't just take the gap because the car's not going to respond as quickly as you want it to. It's going to lag, and by then the gap is gone, or you're going to get into the gap too quickly and then you're going to cause issues. So for me, that's a big problem. There are also other situations like now where the car's like wobbly, like it's going to stall, which it shouldn't because it's an automatic. But that happens every now and then. It get a little bit of shuddering when trying to pull off. So there's just a culmination of things that really go against in terms of points towards how this car drives, which is a problem. Now just to chat a little bit about that engine and setup that we have here. So this is a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine with 115 kilowatts and 230 newton meters of torque, which in the category is pretty good. I mean, that's some decent power that you're getting out of here. So between the likes of, let's say, the Omoda C5, the Mazda CX-5, the Corolla Cross, the Tiggo 7, all of them, its power is right there with them and above what some of those other ones offer. So power is good in this car. It's just about how it's delivered, which is so unfortunate. And I feel sad for it because from what I've experienced, it's a really nice car, and I think that you are getting really good value for money. Now power is being sent to the front wheels through a 6-speed dual clutch transmission, which again, the whole drivetrain situation, whether it's the DCT gearbox, which is the one that's lagging, or if it's the throttle calibration that's not working, things aren't talking to each other. So there's a lot of potential for this car to be great and drive really well. But right now, in its current situation, it isn't. Foot flat. There we go. You guys can count how many seconds that was because it was just far too long. And with all this bursting of acceleration and putting your foot flat and nothing happens and the car just shooting off and all of that, fuel consumption is also suffering because of it. Now, they do claim 7.8 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, I have been able to achieve, on this particular drive, which has been 10 kilometers, 8.9, which is okay. But my overall drive, which has now been around 200 kilometers of driving, I'm now sitting on 11.4, which is very far off from the claimed number. And I can expect that number because I can feel how the car is driving and how it's accelerating and using all of that precious fuel. Now, there are two different drive modes. You can get Eco and Sport. Unfortunately, nothing in between, which probably would be the sweet spot. Normal, comfort. Someone just missed the tick box when they were creating the drive modes. So unfortunately, there isn't something in between. So you're more than likely just going to leave it in Eco, because if you put it into Sport mode, you're now going to start using even more fuel and probably even more acceleration bursts and things like that. So I've left it in Eco, and that's just how I've been driving it. Unfortunately, there isn't any other drive mode to choose. See, it just doesn't know if it wants to be in first or second or how you want to take off. But it's not all doom and gloom, because while getting off the mark is a bit of a struggle and getting those quick gaps and things like that, actually driving a car and when you're in motion, it's lovely. It drives very comfortably. Like I've said, we've spoken about the suspension already. I think that it's quite nice for this car. It's very comfortable, but from a driving point of view, just climbing through those gears while you're driving through the neighborhood or on your way to work, you aren't going to have any issues. Yes, if you need to take those quick gaps like I've spoken about, that's where it might be a bit of a problem. But cruising on the highway, just driving normally, it drives really well. So this is where I say, this car is just so bipolar. Does it want to be good or does it want to be bad? Because at the moment it's doing a bit of both. Okay, so we've spoken about pricing, we've spoken about how it drives, we've spoken about the performance, the engine, the suspension, and all of that stuff. Some good, some bad, but let's move on. Because now I want to talk about the design, which is something that I do really love about this car. On the outside, on the inside, I think that it looks really, really good. I love the way that the exterior is designed. I think it's very unique. It's also giving off little design cues from other cars. I mean, there's some comments on my social media that say that it's giving off Lamborghini Urus from the front, which I can see just by the pure design of the daytime running lights. I think that the upfront face of the car is really good looking. So you've got these very slimline daytime running lights. You've got the actual headlights themselves built into the bumper, which are kind of on the outside of this massive big grille. So a very good looking car from the front. I like the sharp angles, I like the lines, I think it looks good. Both derivatives, whether you're getting the Deluxe or the Momentum, come with 19-inch wheels. And like I said, I feel like they're pretty comfortable. I think you've got enough tire there to kind of manage with our road. So those 19s feel okay. And then coming down the side of the car, you've got a pretty good looking profile. Unfortunately, there aren't any roof rails. So if you are wanting to do like roof boxes and things like that, I think it might be a bit of a struggle. I don't know how you can do that without the roof rails, but maybe you can. And then coming around the back of the car, again, I think that it looks really good. I love the way that the the lights on the outside kind of split into like the tail of an arrow and come very slimly into the back there too. I love how it looks. I love like the designs into the rear bumper, like a diffuser. I mean, obviously none of it's real or aerodynamically being used as aerodynamics, but it's a nice looking car. Cars today have just been designed to look nice and be appealing to the eye, and I think that this one definitely is. And standard across the range, you are also going to find the auto deployable handles in the doors. So when you approach the car, they're going to open up, and when you walk away from the car's going to lock and the handles are going to tuck away nicely. So nice and slimline. Again, just feels a little bit more bougie than what it might be paying for, so that's again a good thing. You also get an automatic tailgate at the back there, which I've hit my head on a few times because I feel like it should be opening a little bit wider, and I haven't really figured out how to make it open wide consistently, so I'm just going to keep on bumping my head. And before I move on from there, this car does have a spare wheel. It might not look like it, but it does provide you with a cover on top of that for some more secret storage, which I think is quite cool. But you do have an actual spare wheel as opposed to a tire repair kit, which is not something ideal for South Africans and our roads. So well done, Jetour. And then on the inside, you've got a very good looking interior. Lots of different red elements to make the car look a little bit more sporty and stand out. You've got them across the front of the dash. You've got red stitching going across there too. Some nice design elements on the inside of the doors here, just to kind of break up the plastic, because there's a lot of scratchy plastic around here, again, based off of the pricing. And that red stitching continues onto the doors as well, where you'll also find on your armrest, you've got a little magnetic clip, which I think if you want to store things over here, it's going to stop them from falling out, and then you can access them here. I don't know what you're going to put there, but if you guys know what to put there, please head down to the comments and let me know. Another thing making the interior stand out for me is going to be these seats. Very comfortable, quite supportive, even though you aren't doing ridiculous speeds, but they're quite comfortable here. They're like an all-in-one seat, so your headrest is built into the full body of the seat here too. Sporty. Some cool stitching, contrast stitching as well, so the sporty theme continues with these bucket seat-like seats up front. And also some metal looking trim here, so lots of colors, lots of textures, a very nice looking interior, and not a lot of gloss black, which is a good thing because that scratches very easily. So even down the center here, where you're going to find extra storage, USBs, a wireless phone charger, weirdly one cup holder, which is strange. You've got your drive selector, as well as little shortcuts here for your volume. So you've got a volume dial in a Chinese car. That is amazing. We don't get that often. Some storage underneath the armrest here, which is split into two. So quite easy to access things. And yeah, a lot of storage around the car. Other Chinese cars have got some storage underneath the center console, which they don't do, but I feel like the door bins are big enough. This is big enough that it's not going to be a major issue. A weird thing that I noticed is the light that they use on this little sun visor thing over here. The weird little design on it, but I think that's maybe just a little quirk that they do. And then, as I mentioned, on the top spec deluxe, you are going to get this full panoramic sunroof, which will open up all the way. And wait, there you go. Come on, there you go. So quite a nice addition, and at that price point of 470,000 Rand, I think you're getting quite a bit of value here. Okay, I'm just closing it up again so I can continue because the sun's very bright in here. And speaking of space, your passengers in the rear are going to be very happy because there's a lot of legroom back there. I mean, that's how much space I have, and this is currently in my seating position. So I'm 1.87 meters tall. That's my driver's seat, and this is all the room that I have in front of my knees, which is very impressive. Now you have an armrest as well as USBs, USB Type A and USB Type C. And then onto some of the technology inside the car, which again, you're gonna have some good and some bad things. So some good things is that you've got 2 digital displays, so you've got all the technology that you want when getting into this category of car like the rest of them. You've got a really nice looking steering wheel, which is looking very much like a Mercedes-Benz one. If you aspire to drive a Merc, then I think that this steering wheel will definitely appeal to you. There's some buttons don't work on here though, which are here. So you've got one here that doesn't click or do anything. You've got another square button that looks like a fingerprint sensor, but that doesn't do anything. But what I do like is you've got a mode button that you can set. So you can either have it as the 360 camera, and we always have bad things to say about cars that integrate their climate control into the infotainment. Now they do that too, but they've also given you a separate little touch sensitive pad kind of underneath the air vents over here, which is good. And well, it's good when you can read it, but in the daytime when the sun's in the car, you can't read anything. So it becomes kind of pointless to use that touchpad. Only when it gets into more shadows and stuff can you actually see what you're doing, and then you'll hear a sound like this to know that you're actually hitting a button. There. I can't see right now, so I'm guessing. There we go. Now you know that it's working. It doesn't vibrate, but it does make a noise. And through the infotainment, you are going to be able to do your car settings, look at your 360 camera. The 360 camera is okay, it's not the best in the game. You've also got wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, an okay sound system. It's not the best, but I think I feel's letting it down is the user experience. Things are also so tiny on the screen, it's quite laggy. Like I've pressed, there we go, now it comes up. But there's also just not a lot to it. But what I have found, which is quite helpful, is that if you swipe down on the screen, kind of like this over here, you're going to get some shortcut buttons for you to use as well. So there you'll be able to find a quick way to go and change your drive mode without having to kind of dig through the whole infotainment. And then onto the cost of ownership section of this video, brought to you by Naked Insurance. So thank you, Naked, for sponsoring this section of the video. We appreciate the support on the channel. Now, as you can see on screen, this is what I was able to get as an insurance premium on this car through Naked, getting it through their website or their app. It's very easy and you can do it in under 90 seconds. It's literally that quick. Now, the great thing about Naked is that no one's going to phone you back, hassle you, or call you for going to get quotes from them online. You get the quotes, you accept it, you don't accept it, that's it, you move on. No one's going to hassle you afterwards, which is an incredible thing for an insurer because we know how a lot of them operate. Naked doesn't do that. Another great thing about Naked is that they've got a feature called Cover Pause, where essentially you go on holiday for 2 weeks to Cape Town and you leave the car parked in your garage for 2 weeks. You don't have to pay the full cover for it because it's not at risk really anymore. So what you do is you activate Cover Pause, you pause your cover, and you can save up to 50% of your premiums when you do that. Now, if you want to go try out Naked and get a quote from them, please head down to the link in my description of this video and go and try them out. I know that you aren't going to regret it. And then onto the verdict in the form of the GDR test. Should you get it, drive it, or remove it from the list of cars that you're looking at? Now, I'm going to say, go and drive it. Go give it a chance. It's a very good looking car. I love the way it looks. I love the way that how comfortable it is to drive. I think you've got a lot of cool tech inside the car here too, which is again a plus. And there's a lot of now Chinese cars out in the market. It's being flooded at the moment. So the choices are almost endless right now. And they've all got very similar issues, quirks, and things like that. So go take it for a drive. And please let me know if you did and tell me what you think of the Jetour. Maybe you own one. Do you agree with me? Do you not disagree with me? I want to know. But if you do decide to get yourself a Jetour Dashing, then please go check one out on changecars.co.za. They're a website that sells new and used cars, but the best thing about them is that they vet and check every single dealership that sells cars on their website. Like I said, making them the safest online platform to buy and sell cars in South Africa. Now they've got a cool feature called Beat My Quote, where you can bring them quotes from dealerships that aren't on Change Cars, and not only will they match the quotes, but they'll beat it too. So a lot of cool things happening at changecars.co.za. Like I said, a proud partner of Greg Dennis Reviews. So thank you so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a whole bunch more about the Jetour Dashing. And if you did, please will you drop a like below, and if you want to see more videos like this, other car reviews and car news, then please subscribe. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.